We're all gamers. Every day, billions of people wake up, eat, and fire up a game as part of their daily routine. Whether you're a pro or someone just jumping online to kill some time, we all game. HyperX gets that. Their products are made to enhance your gaming life, including headsets, keyboards, mice, and products to keep your gear charged. Console or PC, casual or pro, no matter your level, we're all gamers, and HyperX is ready for you. Use our code PITLANE15 at checkout to save 15%.
Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
And welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. This is Matt Hickey, joined by host Mike and Jess. Guys, how we doing tonight?
Living the life.
Pretty good. You almost sounded like a race car right there.
I needed to upshift about halfway through, but I guess I didn't.
You did. But you were
I missed my shift, but that's okay. Hard limiter for life. Guys, could you believe that we're going to start talking with iRacing? It's not like anything happened on Saturday with iRacing or anything, so let me not ramble on here for 5 minutes to recap everything what happened, because it was pretty crazy. But the first thing I wrote in the rundown was that Tony Kanaan really hates iRacing. If you guys didn't have a chance to listen to the Thursday or Friday practice races on Twitch, it was phenomenal. Drivers were just giving jabs at each other left and right, and there were so many things said. I believe on the Friday session, the head steward Greg actually disabled the driver's chat, which was kind of a bummer because that's one of the best parts about those practice races. But it just got crazy, but it was insane. And then the race on Saturday was pretty calm and cool up until about the last 10 laps. To recap some of the most dramatic moments, Lando Norris was in the race because he won the Circuit of the Americas, so he automatically got an entry into the race. And he made it 3 wide in the short chute between turns 1 and 2 on the inside. Graham Rahal was in the middle, and Simon Pagenaud was on the outside. And unfortunately, because they were 3 wide into turn 2, Pagenaud kind of got caught out and hit the wall. With a couple laps to go, Pagenaud, who had now wrecked and pitted, came out and decided that he was going to, quote-unquote, slow down Lando Norris. And on the exit of turn 4 with about, 3 or 4 laps to go, Norris actually ran into the back of him because Pagenaud was going so slow, wrecking both of them. And Norris was in the lead at that point. So we're going to kind of take a quick pause here, and I wanted to see if Mike had any thoughts on that portion of the drama up to that point.
Oh, man. I am very glad this 6 weeks is over. Let me start there. But yeah, listen, it happened. I didn't really think it was a huge deal. Lando kind of made a mistake. Pagenaud made a mistake too. And it kind of should have just ended there. Obviously, social media had a field day with it, which is why I've ignored social media for the last 2 days. Pulling a Jess strategy and just kind of avoiding it has been really good. So I'll leave that there and we'll continue on. I don't know if you have any thoughts there, but we'll keep going.
Yeah, first of all, folks at home, I'm not singling Jess out. Jess saved a lot of time and a lot of effort by not paying attention because social media on Saturday was ridiculous. So shout out to Jess. She's kind of like the smartest one of the three of us. My thoughts on it is, and I was kind of explaining this to the Pit Lane Grand Prix crew last night on Xbox, is that Lando doesn't understand Indianapolis in real life. Sure, he's had a lot of practice with it on iRacing, but a lot of the IndyCar guys take what they know in real life and apply it to iRacing as well. And so any IndyCar driver who's raced at Indianapolis knows that making it 3 wide in the short chute is never a good idea. And that's not something you can actually do in real life. Lando, being the video game guy, understands that, yeah, if I have fresh tires, yeah, I can pull that off and do it. Not realizing that you're completely leaving the guy in the outside lane hanging out to dry. So I get where Pagenaud's coming from and being frustrated. Had Lando, and Stephen Wilson pointed this out on Twitter, had Lando just come on the mic and said, hey, my bad, that was my fault, sorry, I didn't know that I should have made it 3 wide, or, maybe I should have given you more room. Or if he just, played it off as like racing incident, whatever, I think Pagenaud would have just been cool with that. However, that doesn't excuse what Pagenaud did, in my opinion. So I think there's kind of a little bit of fault in both areas there. So I'm going to kind of take a neutral stance on that. I will say that the drama that ensued with Lando's fans on Twitter was really annoying. I had a lot of mentions from said fans, and it's kind of irritating, but that wasn't the end of the drama, because then we got to the final lap. The last half of the lap was pretty crazy. So in the final lap, Marcus Ericsson made a great 3-wide pass to take the lead, and going into turn 4, he still had the advantage. However, Pato O'Ward stuck his nose in the entry of turn 4. Ericsson didn't really leave him too much room, and they collided, sending Ericsson to the wall, giving the lead to Oliver Askew. So heading to the line, Oliver Askew's leading, and Santino Ferrucci is second. And to be as neutral as possible, we'll say that Ferrucci collided with Askew, and Askew spun with Ferrucci, causing them both to crash, coming to the line, giving Scott McLaughlin the win, and Connor Daly finished second. So that was about as neutral as I could be. Mike, thoughts on the second half of the drama there?
I'm really happy Connor Daly finished second, because if anybody deserved a virtual podium after the 6 weeks of whatever you call the IndyCar Challenge, it's definitely Connor Daly. He probably made a ton of fans over the last 6 weeks. So that's my positive spin on everything that happened in the last part there. The Askew thing, yeah, it wasn't good. I'm just going to leave it at that and be as respectful as possible and say it was definitely not good.
So to kind of bring in a real world aspect into this, just to kind of get Jess's take. Jess, imagine it's 2006. Imagine Sam Hornish Jr. is coming down the front stretch trying to pass Marco Andretti for the win for the Indianapolis 500. If you're Marco Andretti, do you intentionally wreck Hornish Jr. coming to the start-finish line of the 200th lap of the Indianapolis 500?
Negative. You do not intentionally wreck them.
All right, we're just going to leave it at that, because that's kind of where I'm at. I know people are saying it's just a game, and I know people are saying that, it's just iRacing, like who cares? I don't agree with wrecking the leader coming to the line in any circumstance, and I think it looked really bad. I think Oliver Askew, while to be honest, like he shouldn't have been contention for the win anyways, because I think Ericsson kind of got robbed. But given the circumstances, I think Askew still kind of got the wrong end of the deal, and Scott McLaughlin got really lucky. So I'm not too big of a fan of what I saw. I think the luckiest guy out of all of that, other than McLaughlin, was actually Pato O'Ward, based on what happened with Pagenaud and what happened with Ferrucci. O'Ward kind of got out of that one looking pretty clean, because I think he also wrecked Ericsson pretty dirty. Got a lot of frayed relationships coming out of this whole iRacing ordeal. Mike, I don't know if you have any general thoughts on the race, or I know you had already said that you're glad these 6 weeks are over. If you have any thoughts about the season as a whole with the iRacing experience.
It made me appreciate playing video games just to unwind after a long day and not take it so seriously.
Jess, ready to get back to real world racing?
Oh boy, am I. So I don't know what TK said Friday, but I probably would have agreed with it, given what your synopsis was there. Yeah, I'm just totally over it. I just don't. It's just, ugh.
Something along the lines of, if this was real life, we would have so many people in the hospital. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I saw, a couple pictures where they were launched like into the stratosphere, literally. So yeah, I cannot imagine what that would do in real life.
Yeah, I've slowly but surely gotten more sick of iRacing as the season has come along. So I'm really looking forward to guys like Connor Daly, Alexander Rossi, just kind of doing a random race for fun, less of the organized IndyCar crowd together, because it seems to be having a wear on the social media world.
Yeah, and before we recap our predictions, and I just want to say I completely agree with you, Matt. I have major respect for the guys that put a lot of time into iRacing, like the Elite Racing League and the Lionheart guys. They work really hard at it, but I have 0.0% interest of ever doing any sort of iRacing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like my Xbox. I think we have some fun things going there, but kind of a moot point here. But we're going to go ahead and recap our predictions. Mike respectfully picked James Davison. Props to you. Although we had no idea with qualifying, because why would you broadcast it? Davison did qualify, and he ended up finishing 19th because he was taken out by the iRacing legend Scott Speed. I had Will Power. I can't remember what his downfall was, but he finished 14th. And then the guy with the great face and millions of dollars, as Connor Daly puts it, Alexander Rossi, finished 12th. So technically the Jess is the winner, but I'm going to go ahead and say that we were all losers because we didn't get a single driver in the top 10 on that one.
But I do have to give Jess credit for watching 47 seconds of 6 races and probably having the best average finishing position out of the 3 of us.
Because she watched the first 30 seconds of Michigan and it's like, yep, I'm out of here.
I think so.
Pretty much, yeah.
Winner.
Roughly.
Winner.
I hope everybody who was able to watch it enjoyed it, or if you didn't, let's talk about real racing from now on. So first up on our news docket today is an article from David Malsher of Motorsport talking about Arrow McLaren Schmidt Peterson that prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, they were planning a third entry for several races this year, rotating between Jimmy Johnson, Fernando Alonso, and Jenson Button. Jenson Button was picked to be racing at Road America. So 2 questions here. Do we think that they will still do something like this whenever we are able to get underway? And of the 3, which is the most exciting or intriguing driver to you guys?
I mean, this is an interesting thing. I mean, I think it would have been really cool to see how it played out. Do I think that it's still possible? I think it got a whole lot harder just with all the travel restrictions and everything else. I think that kind of puts a damper on things. And then also NASCAR's schedule is now absolutely insane. So Jimmy Johnson's going to find it more difficult, unfortunately, to get there. So that kind of knocks out all 3. But if I had to pick one that I think would be the most fun to watch, I'm going to go with Jenson Button because it's been a minute and who knows, I just think it'd be interesting to see what he would bring to the fray.
Yes. It's hard to determine what exactly is going to happen if they do a third entry this season, just because don't really have a concrete look at the schedule. We don't know who can go where and when, things like that. So I agree with Jess on that one. And then I have no shame in agreeing with Jess on the Jenson Button pick as well. Just because, I mean, if you didn't know, he's not going to do ovals because he hasn't said that about 8 different times. And we haven't reported on that 30 different times in the IndyCar world. So just if you didn't know, Jenson Button's not going to run ovals. But the fact that he's interested in doing road courses to me is super cool. And to see him at a place like Road America, I think he would thoroughly enjoy that type of track. So to see a former Formula One champion in an IndyCar for the first time, I think would be really cool.
Yeah, the Jenson Button one definitely caught me off guard. And honestly, I skimmed the article and didn't read it closely. So when we put together our rundown for the week and I saw Jenson Button's name in there, I thought you were making it up. And honestly, I had to go back and reread it. But I can't agree with you guys. I do agree with Jess. It's going to be really hard. The NASCAR is racing 87 times a week. And the guys coming over from Europe is going to be really hard. So do I think it's possible? Sure. I mean, nothing is impossible if Jenson Button was set to race at Road America. But out of the 3, who is the most exciting? Just to not agree, I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. He seems like such a cool guy, and I'd love to get a chance to chat with him at some point. So I will go Jimmy Johnson there.
Okay. Well, I mean, it would be fun to see all 3 of them. It's a shame that this has all happened, but maybe we'll get to see them all next year. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I think everything's still so up in the air that anything is a possibility at this point.
I agree.
All right. So I am going to throw out just some real quick other news that's been out, I think, all within the last week or week and a half. So per Marshall Pruitt at Racer, IndyCar is going to limit the on-site staff for races when they do resume. So it's going to be limited to 20 people, and that's going to help limit the cost and also exposure. PW Power Systems and Moretti Autosport have kind of come on board with Vassar Sullivan Racing for a partnership for 4 races. Adam Stern is reporting that IndyCar is trying to lower sanctioning fees and work with Texas so that the Texas race can take place. And then lastly, NASCAR is going back racing on May 17th with several races in the first 2 weeks. I think it's like 7 or something. I can't remember the exact schedule. I've seen it. They are going to have no fans and also a limited crew there. So what do you guys think about all this?
So NASCAR, to me, I'm only going to touch on 2 of these. With the NASCAR one, I definitely think the world's going to kind of be watching as far as how they do things. As far as I can tell, with the major sports leagues of the world, the only other one that I know of that's coming in May is potentially the Bundesliga, which is the German soccer league. So it's really curious to see how those 2 kind of do things and see how they implement their strategies and whatnot. So we'll be watching that. And then the other one I'm going to touch on is the Adam Stern report with Texas and the sanctioning fee being lowered. To me, that, given the circumstances, seems like a positive sign. It makes it seem like that they're getting really close to kind of finalizing that there actually is going to be a race, hopefully without fans, just for safety reasons. So to me, it makes it seem like Texas in June is a very real possibility.
Yeah, I definitely hope you're right on that one. I really don't know what to think if it's possible, but like you said, it's definitely a good step in the right direction. I think NASCAR races like 7 times in the first 2 weeks or 10 days. I don't know. It's insane. It's a lot. But yeah, and I think Tony Kanaan or Alex Rossi said it on the Friday media call. I don't remember who said it, but having Roger Penske own a NASCAR team and also be in charge of IndyCar will give IndyCar really good insight as to what is NASCAR doing right, what is NASCAR doing wrong, can we do this, how can we do this? So we already trust Roger, and Roger's kind of getting a firsthand look in the sports world and motorsports world on how this is done. So I think we'll all be watching. I'm definitely curious to see how it unfolds.
I did forget one thing to put it into the rundown here, but I had talked to you, Mike, about it. NHRA has also come out. I think it was yesterday. Originally, they came out a couple weeks ago and said that they would start racing again shortly and that they would have fans at the tracks. And basically, it was going to go on like nothing had ever happened. They have revised that as of yesterday. They are not going to start racing again until August at this point. They have postponed all June and July dates. They are going to try to start in August and run 16 more races so that they get their 18 race schedule in. So just another one. I don't know who is right. I don't know that there is a right and a wrong in this particular situation. It's a lot of moving parts, but I think that given everything that's going on with travel restrictions and everything else, it's not necessarily a bad idea to kind of postpone things for a little bit longer and see how everything shakes out. So that's an interesting take. Let's see who does it better, NASCAR or NHRA, because it's like 2 opposites in the way that they're doing things.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I forgot that you mentioned that to me earlier today, but I guess we will wait and see. I don't know if there's one approach that's 100% right. Maybe IndyCar takes a little bit of both, because I'm sure the answer to my question is probably not, but it should be very interesting over the next, I don't know, month, how this all starts to unfold.
Yeah, it's going to make for some good, when, 10 years from now, when we look back at this time, it's going to be interesting to kind of dissect and remember of what happened and who did what and things like that. So we're going to look back at this time and definitely study it for years for sure. More positive note, the Xbox League for the Pit Lane Parlay Grand Prix League on F1 2019 finished the 8th round at France yesterday. Jake Neely, my teammate, did win the race, followed by Team Pit Lane member Christian Denevsky, and then Brad James with his first career podium finished in 3rd. I finished 4th. I unfortunately missed a strategy call by 2 laps with the rain, so that was a bummer, but I'm still happy to get 4th because I absolutely cannot stand France. Hate it. So next race is at Austria. Feeling a little better about that one for sure. And then, Mike, do you want to go ahead and touch on your 2 leagues?
Yeah, so the PlayStation crew had a lot of fun at Monaco last week, and by a lot of fun, I mean Michael Goodyear was the only one who finished the race, and all 3 of us in terms of data lighting and Drew and a couple other guys all crashed out. So, and then Gran Turismo, we had our second endurance race Sunday night. Again, Joey Haynes won by a very large margin. I came in towards the rear of the field because that's really what I'm good at, is spinning out and forgetting to brake in corners, as Matt saw. I think Matt made a joke on my Twitch, and then I forgot to brake.
Don't blame it on me.
Oh, I'm blaming it. I'm 100% blaming it.
You are 100% a driver.
We
Drivers' excuses for days.
Well, on that note, I will keep it positive. It was a lot of fun. I really am enjoying the banter back and forth in the races and the Twitter chats and whatnot, talking about the games. So with that, we'll move on to a quick Team Pit Lane shout out here. Let's go to Xbox race winner Jake Neely, Stephen Clark, and Keith Tyron.
All right, I got the Facts Game this week, which we still have not come up with a creative name for, so we're still calling it the Facts Game. I unilaterally decided to expand it to the last decade without telling these guys, so jokes on them. The word unilaterally means I don't need your approval, therefore you don't get to boo me.
No, we do. We can still boo you.
Oh, okay. All right, you ready? I'm
I
gonna
guess.
go ahead and talk in the first person on this one. I am a Canadian. I have raced in Indycar, Formula One, and NASCAR, and I'm a champion of 2 of those 3 series.
Jacques Villeneuve?
Yeah. What year did he win the IndyCar championship?
I don't know.
What year did he win the Formula One championship?
I also don't know.
What year did he last start a race in IndyCar?
6 or 7 years ago?
You are technically correct. 2014.
Okay.
So good job.
Jess, did you know that one? I wanted to give you a chance, but I wasn't sure based on your face if you were ready to answer or
no,
not.
I was going to ask if I shared a birthday with him, but when you answered it, you answered the question as no. Because I do share a birthday with a Canadian driver who raced in IndyCar and NASCAR, but not F1.
Is it Marty Roth?
Negative. Negative. Not Marty Roth. But I don't know Marty Roth's birthday. Somebody Google it.
What's like the worst day of the year? It'd probably be that day.
Marty Roth was born on December 15th.
That sounds like a sad day.
That's terrible.
That's so mean. What did he do to you?
He was a nice guy, and he was a good entry into the field when the IRL was in its down days, but he was very slow and most often in people's ways.
That was definitely me in Gran Turismo on Sunday. I was very slow.
I am going to crash your Twitch comments and just start calling you Marty Roth repeatedly.
That's fair. I will enjoy it. On that note, we will wrap it up. Our last week of 3 stars of the week before we get back to pitfalling people and making fun of whatever silliness goes on in the motorsports world.
Like normalness.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend things are getting back to normal now. So, with that being said, I'll just start it out like I have the last couple of weeks. Riley Motorsports has joined with Core Motorsports in terms of making some powered air purifying respirator masks. I don't really know exactly what that is because it's a very long article, and obviously, as you can tell, I did not read the entire article, but really cool on one of the longtime IMSA teams in Riley Motorsports joining with another IMSA team. So hats off to them in terms of finding some really cool technology to help keep everybody safe and healthy right now.
So mine is kind of similar. Andretti Autosport has started using their machines to 3D print pieces and build face shield masks for medical frontline workers. So I think that's pretty cool that they're able to help in that way. Obviously, everybody's looking for a way to help. So it's good that they found their little spot.
And then mine is going to be, obviously a lot of crazy things going on right now with pandemic and whatnot. And a lot of our focus has been shifted to that. For those who don't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who's helping spread the word about the fact that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that if you are out there and need someone to speak to, there are people there in your corner that can help you out. I know, I ran a livery that had the color green on it to commemorate that for the Pit Lane Parlay Grand Prix League. Christian Danevsky helped out with that. A couple others in our league have done that. For Mike, he's doing that with the Gran Turismo League to help spread awareness. And so I know that while the pandemic's going on, it's good that other people are also highlighting the fact that, mental health is a big thing right now, obviously with either working from home, people who are either furloughed or unfortunately been laid off. It's a stressful time for everybody. So please do not be afraid to seek help and reach out to somebody if you are going through something, because we are here to help you and to end the stigma. So please just speak up if you need anything.
Good choice there. And yes, I will be running a green livery in the Gran Turismo League on Sunday night. So guys, I think that wraps it up for the week. Jess, we could talk about iRacing for another half hour if you want. I'm
going to go ahead and sign off. You guys do whatever you want.
Oh, wait, Jess, can you give us a quick recap as to what netcode is?
What is?
No, Jess, it's time to say it. Let's find a way to mute Matt.
What? Come on.
Nope, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole of annoyingness. So everybody, thank you for listening. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully the weather is nice wherever you are in the country, and stay safe. And Jess, go ahead and sign us off.
And guys, keep your lug nuts tight.